everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about some books that make me feel nostalgic because it's Nostalgic November. I have several books that I'm going to be diving into, and let me know down in the comments below what books make you feel nostalgic. So this book obviously makes me feel nostalgic, Twilight. I remember devouring this book. I remember watching my mother read this book, and when she got to the end, she threw it down, kind of like Thor, and was like, another! She's like, get me the sequel right now. Because, you know, at the end, he like almost looks like he's gonna bite her, and she thought he had actually done it. So I have a lot of memories associated with this. I remember sitting in class after class was over, reading this book. I mean, this book just gives me such nostalgia vibes. I remember being obsessed with it. I was obsessed with the movies. You know, you look back as an adult and you're like, why was I obsessed with that? I mean, Twilight was good, okay? Like, back in the day, it was good. I mean, it may not hold up to our standards nowadays, but you devoured this when you were, like, a teenager. Don't lie to me. Don't lie to me. So, the whole Twilight series makes me nostalgic. I remember staying up and rereading Breaking Dawn overnight. I literally read that entire 600-700 page book in a night. The next book that makes me feel super nostalgic is Eragon by Christopher Paolini. This book made me fall in love with dragons. I never read any of the other books in the series because I'm trash apparently, but this book, was so good. And I remember going to watch the movie and I was so disappointed on how different it was. This is back before I knew that movies always kind of butcher the books, but man, I love this book. It made me fall in love with dragons, and it was just a wild adventure. And I really want to reread it at some point just so I can relive my childhood, or maybe destroy my childhood. I don't know. We'll find out. Another book that makes me feel so nostalgic is the Tiger Curse series. Another book that makes me feel so nostalgic is the Tiger's Curse series by Colleen Hawke. This series, I wouldn't say it made me fall in love with reading, but it was a book that really, really ignited my reading. Almost said reading career. My reading career. No, it ignited my love for reading. I mean, I had other books that I had read before this, but this book I just picked up on a whim at the library. I looked at the cover and was like, gosh, that's gorgeous. And so I picked it up and I fell in love with the characters. Like, Kelsey was literally the embodiment of me as a teenager, even though she was a little bit older than me at the time. Like, there were so many things and thoughts that she had, and I was like, holy cow, that's me. So you don't know how bad I wanted to go find a tiger and go to India and travel and save the tigers and fall into a love triangle with 2 Indian princes. Gosh, this book hooked me. You know, back in the day, love triangles, they make you nostalgic. Even though they may not be the bee's knees these days, they were so good back then. They hit different, okay? So yes, Tiger's Curse series, that entire series just made me fall in love with characters and books and everything. Get out of here. Okay, another book that makes me feel so nostalgic is The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. I mean, if you were a teenager back in the 2010s era, you probably read this book and you probably bawled your eyes out, which I'm heartless. I didn't technically bawl my eyes out. I just kind of like got emotional, but I didn't get tearful emotional because I have no heart. Anyway, this book was so good. I remember absolutely loving it, even though it was sad and depressing, but it made me fall in love so much with the characters. And I still remember the breakfast scene with the eggs. I can't remember exactly what it's about, but for some reason that scene stands out to me, the breakfast scene with the eggs. Anyway, but I really liked this. It made me want to go travel and not waste any time in my life. So this book makes me feel so nostalgic. The next book that makes me feel so nostalgic is the Percy Jackson series. I mean, if you know, you know. I was in 6th grade and our teacher did this as an assigned reading because I guess the movie was coming out soon. And so we actually took a class field trip to go see that movie. Oh my gosh, we don't talk about that movie. Anyway, but this book, it just got me so obsessed with reading. Like, I was so into Greek mythology, and that's the year that we had world history. So I was like, yes, let's go over all the Greek mythology. And I'm like, oh yeah, Zeus. I know Zeus. Oh yeah, Poseidon, he's a cool guy. So yeah, made me really fall in love with Greek mythology. And yeah, I wanted to be a demigod so bad. I even have a Camp Half-Blood shirt now. But I'm excited for the TV show coming out on Disney Plus. And I really hope it stays kind of like truer to the plot line of the books. So this book series, chef's kiss. Another book that makes me feel nostalgic. Like, I feel like these are like just the 2010s checklist, but it is The Hunger Games. I remember reading this in like 6th grade, obsessing over it. I remember reading about Rue while I was in class, and whew, that took a lot of emotional restraint to not break down in class. But gosh, this book series is it just hits different. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of book 3. I mean, I think you know why. Book 3 is just a little confusing to me, especially near the end when they're traveling through the capital. But gosh, this book series, like book 1 and book 2, elite level of reading. And I love how like it still holds up to being awesome to this day. And then the last book that makes me feel nostalgic is a series that I didn't particularly love, but the idea of the book itself still makes me feel, oh yeah, I remember those good old days. And that is the Divergent series. I like the first 2 books okay, but again, book 3, we don't talk about book 3. I knew something was up the second that we got 2 different POVs instead of just the one. I was like, I don't trust this at all. But Divergent, I mean, you know Divergent, separated into different classes based on your personality or whatnot. And yeah, it was really good. I mean, I enjoyed it. It was a book series that stuck with me when I was a kid. I mean, your dystopian YA, apocalyptic stuff, all that sort of stuff hit different back in the early 2010s. So yes, that is a book that makes me nostalgic. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Comment down below what books make you feel nostalgic. Some honorable mentions would be like Goosebumps, which I don't have any of those, unfortunately, but Goosebumps back in middle school, they scared the pants out of you, or off of you, or whatever you want to do it. They scared everything out of you. Wink. Goosebumps. I also loved like the Gregor the Overlander series, which is actually by Suzanne Collins, the author of The Hunger Games. I love the Fablehaven series, the Grimm Sisters series. So there's so many books that I don't have that hit different. So just let me know down in the comments below what books make you nostalgic. And as always, if you like this video, like and subscribe, leave some comments, go wild. I love you guys.